Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Gold Wingnut Live. I'm your host, Don Wiley. Thank you for joining me. So, I got to tell you, it's been a roller coaster of a week for me. I have been through periods of anxiety, depression, anger, and a whole host of other emotions based on what's going on. I know that there's a lot of people tuning in, possibly for the first time. I want to thank you for joining me. I am a county commissioner here in Sumter County, so I will not answer questions related to things that might be coming up on an agenda for consideration by the county commission, just to protect myself from possible violations of sunshine laws, because I don't know who's on the other end of this live broadcast. So I have to protect myself, and I'm not trying to hide anything. I just have to be careful. So I know many of you are here because of some late breaking news that's been coming out about myself and some of the other drone pilots here in the villages that produce content for everyone to watch concerning the villages. I have been up since very early this morning going over what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, and I had to put it down on paper just to make sure I don't compromise my position legally or in any other manner. So if it sounds a little stiff the first couple of minutes, I apologize, but I felt this was the best way to deal with this issue. So let me get started. I and several other drone pilots who document the progress of the community known as the villages received letters from an attorney representing the developer of the villages to stop our drone flights and documentation and to take down the videos that you took previously from your YouTube channels. While I have met with and been in communications with the other pilots, today I am speaking only for myself and my situation. I am not going to post or disclose or discuss the full contents of the letter I have received until I get concurrence from legal counsel, of which I am currently in search of retaining. All right, so let me switch this screen. If I can remember which one I put it. There it is. So we're going to talk about the letter. They opened the letter introducing themselves representing the village's companies. This is the developer, not the community called the villages, and not the local district government referred to by many as the villages. They identify my YouTube site and then ask me to, oops, of course you got to get the right cursor here, cease operating drones over the village's company's property and take down the previously posted videos. There's also an invitation to speak with the attorneys for them to make their case on why they feel the drone operations are improper. So this is where it starts, okay? Now later in the letter, they state that they have reason to believe that your drone operations are in violation of FAA regulations. And our review of the publicly available FAA records do not show that any FAA drone pilot license or FAA pilot license have been issued to you. Well, let's clear something up first. There is no such thing as a drone pilot license. Now, early on in the letter, they say they have an expert on the FAA involved with this. You would think they would know that. This is what you get. It's not a license. It is a remote pilot certificate, okay, which means I've gone through and taken a test, passed a background investigation, and so on. Also, this was acquired in August 6th of 2019, right at the time I first opened my business. I have to renew it every 2 years, and to do that, I have to take some recurrency course. And here is an excerpt from that says, this email is to notify you that Donald Lee Wiley, don@goldwingnut.com, has completed the course, Part 107, Small UAS Recurrent on 12/22/23. So, there you go. I do have it. They go on to discuss my violations of 14 U.S. Code 44809. These are the rules for recreational flying. I am a commercial drone pilot, so I have different rules that fall under 10 CFR 107, which is the Small Unmanned Aircraft System rules and regulations. And they assert I was flying beyond line of sight and over 400 feet. I wasn't. I haven't. Let me rephrase that. I have flown over 400 feet, but I was still in compliance because I was going up the side of a mountain. I flew over 400 feet above my takeoff position, but not above ground level. There is a significant difference. I retain my flight records. If you've watched my videos and you've seen the then and now segments, then you know, those segments are what I use this data for. I'm able to recapture my flight and recreate them using that through some additional software. Let's see. Oh, yes. They continue with, as you may not be aware, there are laws prohibiting the use of drones to take videos or photographs of private property like construction sites and model homes of the villages without the owner's permission. Interesting. And because they're obviously not aware of what I also do. I teach at the Enrichment Academy. And in my Step 1 class, I cover all the federal, state, and local laws related to drone operations. And I even touch on international laws for other countries and Caribbean islands because it's of interest to my students. To do this, I have to stay up to date with all the current laws, and I stay on top of the different cases and significant litigation that goes on, so I understand where things are going. It's an important part of what I do. Okay. All right, so we're cruising right along here. Then they cite the definition of surveillance given in Florida Statute 934.50. They paraphrase it. Here's the full context of that particular section. And it describes surveillance, which means with respect to an owner, tenant, occupant, invitee, or licensee of privately owned real property, the observation of such persons with sufficient visual clarity to be able to obtain information about their identity, habits, conduct, movements, or whereabouts, or, with respect to privately owned real property, the observation of such properties' physical improvements with sufficient visual clarity to be able to determine the unique identifying features or its occupancy by one or more persons. Yes, I have read that a few times. I read it every time in my class so my students understand it. And this is important. And there is a right to privacy. Okay. They then go on to cite another part of that's the next section, Section 3 of 934.50, which says, and this is the excerpt that they use of a drone equipped with an imaging device to record an image of privately owned real property or of the owner, tenant, occupant, invitee, or licensee of such property with the intent is an important concept here, to conduct surveillance on the individual property or on the individual property captured in the image in violation of such person's reasonable expectation of privacy without his or her written consent. And this is also a very important part. This is how you protect yourself. And I agree with this 100%. I mentioned intent being an important thing, because what happens if my intent is to take pictures of my house and I see somebody breaking into my neighbor's car? Okay, is that admissible as evidence? Probably so, because it was not surveillance. It was not my intent to be watching somebody else's property or car. I just happened to record it. But let's continue on. Here's the full part of the statement. Well, let me rephrase it. This is half of the statement. Okay? And it goes on to say a person there's a little bit of preamble, and then it finishes up the same way. But there's another part to this. And this is what has been conveniently overlooked. For the purposes of this section, a person is presumed to have a reasonable expectation of privacy on his or her privately owned real property if he or she is not observable by persons located at ground level in a place where they have a legal right to be, regardless of whether he or she is observable from the air with the use of a drone. Let me translate. What that is saying is if I can stand someplace legally and see it on your property, you have no expectation of a right of privacy. And this is the flaw in the letter, in my opinion, with what they're trying to push. They're saying we're violating the right to privacy, but I contend that all the footage I shot, I was able to see from ground level on someplace I had a right to be. I had a legal right to be. So, let's go back. All right. So, I'm not ignoring your comments because I see a lot of them coming in, and I don't want to get distracted on that. I'm almost done. So again, everything that you see in my videos is visible from a location where I can legally stand. And that's important, and I respect that. And I'll get to that particular aspect in just a minute. On this, ladies and gentlemen, I think this is a huge public relations mistake for the management of the villages. I don't believe this is the action is at the direction of the primary members of the developer's family, Mr. Mark Morris, Tracy Matthews, Jennifer Parr. But instead, I believe that this is the work of some level of management without the forethought of the consequences in modern information distribution, specifically social media, because this is taking off. While I'm concerned about my own and my company's sake with this action, the unwanted negative attention that this action may generate in the press and social media could have severe negative effects on the current residents of the villages, Sumter County, the surrounding communities. It can affect home sales, resale values, could result in a decrease in construction because of a decrease in home sales, and lost jobs. This is, in my opinion, a huge mistake. The letter that was quoted in the villagesnews.com indicates that they want to come to an amicable resolution, but of course, this would mean 100% on their terms. So what's this really about? This is about control of information and the narrative. I had a meeting back in January of 2019 with Mr. Ryan McCabe, who was in charge of construction back then, as well as the district manager. They called me up, asked me to come up and meet with them. Honestly, I felt like I was back in high school and getting called to the vice principal's office. And Mr. McCabe made it very clear to me in the meeting that their concern was control of the narrative. They wanted to be in control of the story. We saw in Friday's newspaper Mr. Perlman, Keith Perlman, is coming out with a new article every Friday. Keith is a friend of mine. We have known each other for several years. We talk frequently about the construction going on here in the villages. We sometimes share our insights, but that's about it. He's a good man, and I consider him a friend, and I wish him the best of luck in this new series. But, this is truly about controlling it. This isn't my first run-in with either this law firm or the developer over my work. In the summer of 2019, right after I opened my company, a 130-page complaint was filed by this same law firm on behalf of the developer with the FAA. It nearly shut me down. It took 10 months for the FAA to provide me with a copy of the complaint that I requested under the Freedom of Information Act so I could defend myself. In the interim, they fined me $7,100 for what is known as an enforcement action. After over a year and a half of dealing with the complaint, I received a letter from the FAA stating that there were no violations and the issue and fines had been dismissed. There have been several other issues that I have received phone calls from them on, and in almost every case I capitulated as I didn't have the same resources for lawyers as they do. None of these were resolved with an admission of guilt on my part, merely a desire not to go broke fighting. I'm in search of legal counsel on this matter at this time. Funding, it may be problematic. I have to first discuss certain issues with the county attorney before taking any actions like creating a GoFundMe page because of my position as a county commissioner. We've seen where this has bitten other county commissioners, and I don't want to be in that boat. So where do I stand on this whole matter? Well, at this point, I believe that my actions have all been legal and within the bounds of the current law and legal precedents. I currently have no intentions of removing my work from YouTube, nor to discontinue my documentation of and providing news to the community of the work I continue and providing news to the community of the work that continues to expand our community. So that's what I had prepared. Bottom line, I think they overreached. I understand they want to control the narrative. We are stealing their wow factor when it comes to new developments. It's a different world. It's a different time. This is not the same world it was 15 years ago when they built Brownwood. Okay? Social media and the world has changed tremendously, and they need to change with it. Okay? They don't own the airspace. They do have a right to privacy, and I respect that. But they don't own the airspace, and that was resolved by the U.S. Supreme Court 75 years ago, I think, 1946, however many that is. I'm not going to do the math in my head. It'd be 80 years ago, I guess. 79 years. Okay. But there it sits. I have to move forward. I will do what is in my best interest. I will work with the other drone pilots and providers of YouTube content because we're all in this together. There you go. So let me look at your questions here real quick and see what we got here. Victoria says, Andrew and Victoria said 100 people waiting. Great. Mystery Girl says she's from Gainesville. We love you. Kara's good. Keep fighting. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. We're all here to support you. Good move, Dawn. Let's see. Boy, lots of good positive remarks here. Doug from DD Aerial Productions is online. He's listening. Great. Good to hear from you, Doug. We met, Doug, Scott, and I met last Monday, and we discussed what was going on, and we're trying to get some plans. Dave says the developer doesn't own the airspace above their property. That's correct. It isn't based on the size of your drone. Do you think, Ed says, isn't that based you on the size of your drone? Do you think they have something to hide? I'm curious why they care so much, unless they believe there is a liability they have. Ed, I don't think that they have anything to hide. Again, I think they're trying to preserve the wow factor. When they open up Eastport, this is going to be a big deal, okay? And I think it's going to be an awesome place. And I think they're trying to preserve that. I don't think they're taking the right tack, though. Let's see. Pounds. Okay. This is one of the David says, this is one of the downsides of choosing to live in the villages. Sorry to be a downer, but you won't win a battle against the villages. I have once. I'll continue to do again. I will continue to do what I find is legal, because when they tried to shut me down before, I took all my videos down off YouTube. I made them unlisted, and they sat offline for 2 months. And I finally came to resolve that I'm just going to fly what is legal, where it is legal, and be damned. If they don't like it, that's fine. All right. Let's see. Wow. Comments just rolled in here. David says, the villages likes to control the narrative and flow of information. An example of that is they promote the claim that the average age in the villages is in the lower 60s, but it's clearly in the north of 70. I don't know the true facts. Dana says, well, this is terrible. Maybe start a GoFundMe. And I appreciate that. And if after talking to the lawyers, I can start a GoFundMe page, I will. I just don't want to take and cross the law, just because of my political position. Lori says FAA drone is 400 feet above ground level. Yep, I can't fly a drone over Disney, so not significantly different at the villages. David, that's where you're mistaken. Okay, there is provisions in the drone law that the federal government runs that you can file for protected airspace, if you will, and that's what Disney did. Actually, I think they were the first ones to do it, that stops drone operations. And it's clearly marked on the sectional charts that pilots use. I use a sectional chart also for when I'm flying, and that is the case. And I understand Disney's reservations with having drones over. Look at the number of people, the parks. It just would be a nightmare for them, and I completely support that. Let's see. Considering what you, this is Gulf Shore Photography. Considering what you do, I can't see how the First Amendment, this isn't First Amendment protected activity. Again, I'm going to leave that up to the lawyers to deal with. Sue wants to know what the village is afraid of, or what are they hiding, what's happening, what happened to transparency. Well, they don't have to have much transparency. They have to comply with the law, but they don't have to reveal what they're building. Rebecca wants to know, who can we write to? I thought about that this morning for several hours as I was working on this. And, at this point, trying to hit somebody with a barrage of emails and phone calls and that, I don't think would be productive. And I don't think it would serve any good. It would just throw gasoline on a fire that I don't want to do. Hopefully this week I can work through this in a reasonable and amicable manner. All right. Let's see. Gary talks about the Sherman Act. Yep. So possibly, again, I'm going to leave the legal issues up to a good lawyer. Live Free or Die says, I live here in the villages and I'm very ticked off about the developer's behavior regarding this. Fight, fight, fight. Thank you. Don, sorry to drag you into this. Quick question. If I cut my own grass, what do I do with the clippings? Is there anywhere I can take them to? I just bought in Wellpoint last week. Robert, put your grass clippings, bag them up, put them out with the regular trash. It all goes to an incinerator that's used to generate electricity. That's all you got to do. Jerry wants to know, so what does this mean for your business of taking photos of building homes? I don't know yet, but I do know that according to FedEx, I have another letter coming from the same law firm, and it's supposed to be here tomorrow. We'll see what that one is about. I'm pretty sure I know what it's about. We'll see how that goes. Becky wants to know, did you have any idea that this letter was coming? Not initially. I first heard about it when Scott over at Papa Pineapple made his announcement, and then that's when I got a phone call from a friend of mine who gave me a heads up. Today's presentation, yep, Jeff, I agree. We're not don't want to take any missteps. Mike B says lots of YouTubers flying over new areas of the Universal Park before official unveiling. They have a million more to lose than the villagers being scooped, no action taken. Let's see, I can't believe they said you didn't have a license. They're very unprepared. Yeah, I mean, in fact, there is no license. It's a remote pilot certificate. Terminology is important to the FAA. Do you think the people are watching this and will chime in? We're getting a lot of people chiming in. I haven't seen this much activity in a long, long time. Right now, there are 538 current viewers, according to my screen. Thank you all for joining in. I hope to see you all again. Obviously, it's probably a lot of first-time viewers, and we're gonna keep going. Pay for, let's see, Mike B says, anyone living in today's day and age would pay for the excitement you and your channel generate. Oh, thank you, appreciate it. Reasons to choose, okay. Tammy says, I wish the best of luck. I enjoy watching everyone's drone videos. The videos are one of the reasons we chose to move here. It shows us it showed us the areas we decided to move to. Now, I don't do my videos to sell houses. I don't get anything from the villages. This started years ago with frustration on my part because I saw so many people on Facebook spreading misinformation, stuff, and I'm sitting there going, that's not right. And, some of it I learned because I was a district supervisor for CDD 10 at the time. A lot of it I learned from just reading and studying and researching to find out what was really going on for myself. And that's where I continue to go. I want to give you guys good, solid information. I have information that is unverified, that I won't release yet. When I verify it, I will release it, and how I verify it, it's got to be some sort of public source. I also have a little bit of information that I have acquired through my position as a county commissioner that is not public information at this point. And until it becomes public information, I have an obligation and a responsibility to keep my mouth shut about it. Just the way things are sometimes. Let's see. Put pressure on the okay. Somebody wants to know how they can put pressure on the developers. Let's just see where this goes first. Are Are you still focusing on the villages? Let's talk about the villages. Not drone usage. Yeah, I agree. We're gonna wrap up this discussion here in just a few minutes. No TFRs. All right. So, all right. Let's change topics for a while. What do you guys want to talk about? This is an open forum. You guys can ask your questions. You can call me. The phone number's on the screen, 352-661-6175. You can ask your questions that way. On the screen, I will try and keep up with what's coming across the screen because it has been scrolling at a great rate. Let's see. Sue, and there was a couple of comments about partnering with me, advertising with me, and all that. I don't want their money, okay? Because as soon as I take their money, it stops me from saying what I want to say. They at that point control me and control the narrative, and I'm not going to be controlled by anybody. I'm going to be controlled by facts and the truth. So while I respect them greatly, they are an incredible construction company. I don't want their money, okay? Let's see. All right. Dreamcatcher says Church of the Springs on Bar Boulevard had its groundbreaking 6 months ago, but construction has not started yet. Do you know what construction will start on the church and the one on Megason Road? No, I do not. I honestly am surprised that Church of the Springs hasn't started. Whoops. Gotta watch what I click on the screen because everything goes away on a Mac. I don't know what's going on with Church of the Springs. I know there's a construction trailer out there now. I see that when I drive by looking around at what's going on, but I'm not sure why they haven't started. Oh, this is a good one. Chris says, Don, if you eliminate the videos, that will cause more people to drive through restricted areas. This will cause possibly dangerous situation. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Mark says, can you comment in general what will be the build in the areas near the section of 470 that will be turned into a cul-de-sac near Marsh Bend? Will there be Middleton homes built in that area? No, there's no homes going in that area. It is, they're basically we're capping off County Road 4, the old County Road 470, because it's a dangerous intersection just north of the fire station. That had been the plan for the last 7 years, since the county road agreement was first conceived. And that we're at that point now where the work on Marsh Bend Trail is complete. That work on that section of 470 is Central Parkway is complete. Now it's time to cap it off. They're putting in a cul-de-sac so the fire department can still go out. Wildwood Police can still go out that way, but they want to stop the traffic and route it down Central Parkway. Please repeat the part where you believe this decision could affect just agents and realtors. Let's see. So Doreen, basically, it could have a negative impact. Negative press is not good. Could affect sales. Could affect resale values, and we really don't want to see that. Man. Let's see. Sue says, what's with the reports of drones hanging outside windows and recordings? Have you heard of any of these reports, and is there any validity to them? I don't know of any that have any validity. And honestly, if you tried to record, you probably wouldn't get anything because it's darker inside the house than it is outside the house. And honestly, you'd hear it. I mean, that close, you would hear it. So there's no secrecy in that with the drone. The first slide in my step 1 course is welcome flying peeping toms, because that's what everybody assumes we are. All right. What's on the grill this evening? Jerry wants to know. Actually, we're having leftovers because my wife said, I don't know how long you're going to be on this broadcast today, so I'm just having leftovers. I said, okay. She's made some soup. I don't even remember what it's called, but it's really, really good. Let's see. Vern asks, did you find out if any grocery store in Eastport is a Publix? Thank you for your great information. As far as I know, it's still going to be Publix, but, could be something different. I don't know. If I find anything different, I'll let everybody know. Let's see. Mike B says, Don, I'm an attorney and one of the current clients. Your online either earlier and proposed approach sounds cognate to me. Good luck. Thank you. Okay. Scott over at Kitchen Wise, Closet Wise said we attend there. They're moving at the speed of God. Our intent is to use as little debt as possible. So Scott over at Kitchen Wise and Closet Wise, who is one of my advertisers, great product. He goes to Church on the Springs. So yeah, thanks, Scott. Jeff Monash, another one of my advertisers. Village's Air Filters. He wants to know any news on the stores on Bingham Trail. Now, honestly, I haven't really looked into it. What's the latest and greatest drone out for your video and photography? Sam wants to know. Latest and greatest drone out for video and photography. Sam wants to know what's the latest. That would be the DJI Air 3S. Incredible drone. It has LiDAR built into it, so now it has nighttime collision avoidance, something new for drones, at least DJI drones in the commercial market. Don't know any idea what grocery store is going in Middleton yet. Park Roaming with Robbie wants to know about the closure of 470. You're gonna have to go down Central Parkway. I noticed that the bond in Middleton is high. Is that because there is no amenity fee? Thanks for helping with my friend. The bond continues to go up. Okay. And they just established CDD 16, and guess what? The bonds are going to be the highest you've ever seen in CDD 16, and when they establish CDD 17, they're going to be even higher. Inflation causes everything to go up. The bond on my first house here in the Villages was $13,000 for a courtyard villa. Okay, that was 11 years ago. Okay, things have happened. Look at everything has changed in 11 years. Let's see. Don, do you know anything about the road work in Richmond? I've heard rumors Wildwood would not accept some roads, but no details. I don't know. I don't get involved with Wildwood's business, and I really haven't heard that much about the roads in Richmond. I didn't know there was a problem. Mark Ryan says, can you provide an update on Target on 466A and the planned hospital ER? Also on 466A, anything you're doing. Thanks for everything you're doing. Okay, so I know Target is progressing. They started painting the signs. They started interior work. As far as the hospital out there on north of 466A, I believe that's HCA is building a hospital. And I haven't heard anything on that. In fact, I just shot that. And I haven't seen anything. Let's see. Don says, Don, I teach JROTC cadets. This semester we're teaching a course called Dronology, and we're building and flying drones. Like you, I teach laws involved for recreational use. Thank you. It's good to know. Villages Chief says, you drone YouTubers are a net positive for the villages. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Chief. Let's see, my thoughts, cadets don't get Part 107 certificates. They do take the trust certificate. Anyway, the point is, no one owns the airspace over their home or property. You're right. Alan C. says the village's listing service controls the flow of real estate data in the villages, so home buyers can't track price declines and other relative information provided by MLS. Yep, yep, absolutely right. And, the used car dealers don't get to track what Ford is doing. And, it is what it is. I'm going to get to that, though, in just a few minutes. Where are we at on time? Holy mackerel, we've been cruising here. We also, Don also says we also go over privacy issues. I believe the law's on your side. Do you know if existing home sales are still poor? Mableton, boy, if you ask me, part of the problem is, the political environment right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. Interest rates are still higher than we'd like them to be. So that provides uncertainty. But also, every year the volume of resale homes is going to continue to rise. If they sell 3,500 homes a year, and after a year, 2% of them go on the market, that's 70 homes. You add that 70 homes to the year before and the year before, and yes, the total number of resales continues to rise. It is, it's just simple math. I don't know what's happening in the resale markets. I sure wish I knew. Do you know any idea? Okay, so Barb wants to know any idea what's happening on Warm Springs next to Elite Dental clearing land? No, I haven't looked into that yet. I've been a little bit busy the last week or so. Clark says, are we not allowed to take pictures and videos from the ground also? Yeah, there you go. A good question. Any new hospitals in the works? Park roaming with Robbie. So there is a small hospital looking to be built over on US 301 near the entrance to DeLuna. Don't know where that sits at this time, though. That's under Wildwood's purview. Why can't we all just get along? Yes. Let's see. Pluto Ludo says another point detail is legal definition surveillance. If surveillance is legally defined in Florida as continuing monitoring. Okay. Costco, any updates? Estimated opening, Don, I don't know on the exact opening of Costco. Here we are. We're past the Ides of March. So are they going to be done in 2 months? It doesn't look like it. They still got a lot to go. That doesn't mean much, though. It could just spring up. When I was out there the other day, they have the foundation poured. They have a couple of sections of walls up, and they also have the low walls up. It looks like block wall that they're going to put slabs on top of. So the walls are starting to come. It just takes time. Let's see. Captain Table MDR, great name. Hi Don, do you know if the village is against parking garages with multi-levels near the squares? Many cities have been able to build and discuss incorporating them nicely. So multi-level parking garages are expensive, okay? And who's going to pay for it? That's a lot of money. Wildwood just spent millions on a small multi-level parking garage on US 301. I just can't see it. Now, somebody like Disney, if you go down to downtown Disney, oh my gosh, they built a bunch of huge parking garages in the last 10 years. But they can justify it. They can get the return on their investment. I'm not sure that they could. I don't think I don't think they're going to need it. Over in Eastport, it looks like they have plenty of parking. America Troy 77. Really enjoyed your video on Victory Family Sports Girl the other day. Thank you. It was great meeting with Fred Karamapur. It took about 2 months to get him to get on screen, but he was great to talk with. I've talked with him many times. He's a great businessman, and he's still effectively a small businessman, even though he has a very large company now. But he is involved with it on a day-to-day basis, and he does a great job. Let's see. You're the reason Muskie says, you are the reason I was able to buy a home in the Villages without coming here to visit. You gave me the confidence that it's a great place to live, confidence that developers are solid. I think they are solid. Again, I think this is a poor decision made by somebody in management, and I could be wrong. Okay, I certainly hope I'm not. Okay, will the restaurants open late in Middleton past 9 p.m.? I would say if there's something going on at the Tracy, probably so. Victoria says, hope you got to enjoy your birthday. I was working, so a little bit, yeah. Let's see, Bob says, just a question. If I'm in my backyard in a villa with 6-foot walls around the yard, is it expected that I have privacy right or concern someone flying a drone over my backyard and recording me? So this goes back to intent, Bob. Yes, you have a right to privacy in your backyard, most definitely. Okay, and I will tell you, as a longtime drone pilot, I have thousands of miles in the air. I have thousands of flights, hundreds of hours of airtime. If I'm flying over some houses or whatever, I'm really not looking at what's in anybody's individual backyard. And honestly, with the wide-angle lenses I use, that all the drones use, you can't make out details really on what's going on. You got to be really close and really low to see any kind of details. So Jim wants to know, hey Don, will the commercial non-Villages semi-truck traffic that uses Central Parkway as a shortcut to the turnpike be diverted in future plans? Not at this point that I know of. Obviously that's a concern. Jill wants to know, this shows just how valuable the information you provide in Support the Minutes. Thank you. Peter Bernard says it's legal to fly where people don't congregate. Yep, basically yes. Will you have a live stream on Easter? I don't even remember when Easter Sunday is. I got to look at the calendar. I just honestly, Mark, I take it one day at a time right now. Let's see. Keep an eye out, Don, for hire private investigators looking to find dirt, such as living outside your office district. Use leverage to get you to capitulate to their demands. Well, I'm sitting here in my apartment, and the kids are quiet upstairs for once. Drown your sorrows in a pint of Zanzibar chocolate. Okay. Is Lakeside or LaGrange in the next village queue for houses? It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while on those, probably another month or two. But yeah, I think LaGrange is next after this. Yes, drone videos are positive for the villages. Okay, you know what? We're caught up on the questions. Let's go to the next topic I had. Where are we at on time? We got about 10 minutes. So, I made a mistake. Okay? God, I hope Debbie's not watching this because I'm never going to live this down if she hears me say I made a mistake. I used the term realtor to describe a village's real estate agent. So I got corrected. A realtor is a trademark name for somebody who is a part of the National Association of Realtors. And I respect that, okay? And I'll try not to make that mistake twice again. Is the developer suing Google Earth? Yeah, good question. So anyway, the problem I have right now is several comments that were made. I'm going to show you those in just a second. And I watch and try and get a lot of information. I watch YouTube videos late into the evening sometimes. Half the time I fall asleep in front of them. But I see realtors, people that don't work here in the villages, making comments about the real estate agents that do work for the villages. They're independent contractors. They don't work directly for the villages. They're independent contractors, questioning their integrity and things like that. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'll show you the comments. If I gotta find the, oh, here we go. I guess just hit the transition button. There. All right. So now we come here. All right, and here's one. It says, as far as the realtor thing goes, the biggest difference is that the village's sales agents only have a fiduciary responsibility to the developer. Yes, they have classes and work hard, just like realtors. As with anything, there are good agents and bad agents, and that goes on both sides of the fence there, Stacy. At the end of the day, though, they only work for the developer. Really? So how is my agent that I have, Frank DiPietro, great guy, who is working to sell my house, how is he working for the developer in this case? I don't know. So I have a problem with that question. Next, though, is this one. It says, Don, the village's real estate salespeople, it doesn't even say real estate agents, are not realtors, but licensed sales agents for the developer. Realtors need to belong to the National Realtors and MLS. So my response initially was, so if I pay to use the MLS system and I pay to join some National Realtors Association, then I can call myself a realtor if I'm selling property. Sounds like the National Realtors Association has sold you a bag of beans, Jack. I've heard it so many times from realtors. Bottom line is that they can't get their hands on a cut of the sales commission for properties that sell quick and get high prices. Sell your story to somebody else. And he responds, this is really what chapped me. Don, sorry you don't like my response, but realtor is a trademark name. Yes, I acknowledge that, and I concede that fact. My mistake. Okay? And as agents, we work hard to keep up certain ethical and practices that sales agents from the villages do not, as they only answer to the developer. Really? Really? That's the way you feel about it, Robert? Okay. I understand that they work for the developer, and you may need to keep them on your good side. I don't need to keep them on my good side. I have many friends that are both real estate agents for the developer and real estate agents outside of the developer's network. Folks, let me show you what this is about. Okay? What's it really about? Average 3,500 homes sold, brand new homes sold in the villages at $400,000 average price with a 5% sales commission. That's $70 million in sales commission if you sell 3,500 homes here in the villages. $70 million in sales commission. That's a lot of money. And the amount that MLS agents can get out of that? Zero. That's their problem. They can't get their hands on it. Okay? When we look at resales, this past week, okay, pre-owned home sales for villages real estate agents in the last 12 months was 2,117 homes. If we assume they have an average sale price of $350,000 at a 5% sales commission, that's almost $47.5 million. Okay, so we're talking, what, close to $200 million in sales commissions that MLS agents can get zero cut out of it. This is about money. Yes, there was a disagreement years ago, and that's why the villages broke off of MLS. I don't know the details of it, but you know, Ford isn't required to sell their trucks and cars at Chevy dealers. Okay, it just doesn't work that way. Okay, this truly is, folks, just about the money. You know, I don't see that the ethics are any different for realtors or the real estate agents that work for the villages. They will all have to answer to their customers ultimately. And let me tell you what, you get somebody who's a shyster, a crook, whatever you want to call them, in this day and age with social media, they're gone. They're history real quick. And from what I have seen of the way the villages conducts themselves business-wise and the moral character that they demand of the people that work for them, somebody like that would not last long selling for the villages. All right. All right. So that's it. All right. Where are we at on time? Wow. We have killed almost an hour. We still have 500 people watching. Folks, thank you so much for joining in. You know, total we've had over 1,300 people have tuned in. This is awesome. You know, I thank you again. I try and provide good factual information. Oh, I got to tell you, you know, if you saw my video yesterday morning, I recorded that in the truck on the way to the golf course. And I will tell you, it's been a bad week. And so I got to the golf course, and first hole was good. I parred it. I had a beautiful tee shot. But after that, it went downhill. A lot of senior pars. Everybody knows what a senior par is, right? You get a discount. Some people call it a bogey. I call it a senior par. The other part about a senior par is you senior par go right out the window. There were a few nickels out there, a couple of double pars. The group I golf with, we've been golfing together now almost 10 years. And the original foursome, we golfed together. That was Jack Miller, Dave Davidson, and Tom, I apologize, I forgot your last name, and myself. We were golfing. We were the first foursome out. And we, on the last hole, we always have a closest to the pin. You got to get closest to the pin on your tee shot, and then you have to make it in par to win the pot. If you make a birdie, you get a bonus. We have a birdie pot. We all chip in $1, so it's not big winnings. It doesn't even cover breakfast anymore because, man, prices have gone up. But I got up to the tee box, and my mind was drifting, and I said, you know what, I'm going to take my frustrations out on the ball. And I got just the ball for it, and here it is. See what it says on there? I'm sure most of you can see it now. I smacked the heck out of it. Dropped it about 6 feet from the pin, one closest to the pin. And needless to say, I'm holding on to that ball. That was a pretty lucky shot, but I smacked the hell out of it. I was taking my frustrations out. Sorry. All right. Yeah, please everybody hit the like button if you've enjoyed what we've been doing here today. Come back and join me each week. We try and do this every week now. There's a week in April where I'm not going to be doing this because I'm going to be on a cruise ship. We are going on MSC's World America. It's their newest ship. It will be the second cruise for that ship. It will be the first cruise that ship does on the Western Caribbean itinerary, or I guess it's Western Caribbean. We're going to Mexico and whatever. I don't care. I'm sitting on the cruise ship and relaxing because that's, well, I'll probably be working. What am I saying? Relaxing. Jerry says, did you make the putt? You dang right I made. Well, I didn't make the first putt, but I laid up close enough that I just tapped it in. So, yeah, I won. All right. But, yeah, we're looking forward to this cruise. We made these reservations when we first heard about the ship come out. If you haven't been on MSC, very nice European cruise line. We're staying in the Yacht Club, which, you know, other cruise lines have different names for, but basically it's first class. And this is our 4th or 5th sailing on MSC, and we absolutely love it. One we did last year, well, okay, I guess it would have been, 2023? Wow, time flies. great ship. We had a great time. We went with our friends Ron and Marianne, and we had an incredible time. Let's see what else we got here for comments coming in. All of you with YouTube channels with the drones, that's free advertisement for the villages, and in my opinion have brought up a lot of people check out the villages and end up buying homes. Thanks, Jay. Have a great trip. Hang in there. Love MSC. Arthur says, I love MSC cruise ships. Great job on your show. Good luck and fight. Dee Dee gives me 6 thumbs up. Talk up the drone club. Yeah, hey, okay, good thing. Drone club. In fact, let me see, where did I put it? Hang on. I was just, give me a second. Yeah, there it is. So, I was the founder and organizer of the Drone Flyers Club. About 6.5 years ago we started. I was president of the Drone Flyers Club for the last 6 years, and I finally, my schedule's full. I got a full day ahead of me every day, so which is why my videos tend to suffer. I don't have a lot of time for editing, it seems like, but they gave me this beautiful, I don't know what you call these things, but it's got my name on it. It says Drone Flyers Club, the Villages, in recognition of service and leadership, Don Wiley, founding member, president, 2018 to 2025. Put it over there so I don't break it. Great group of men and women, and we try real hard. We teach safe flying. We really push the concept of safe flying and obeying the laws, because it only takes 1 or 2 bad apples to really ruin things for everybody in this hobby, and unfortunately there's a lot of misinformation that goes on. We have a social outreach program, which if you have a club event or something that you would like to get maybe a nice aerial photography of a group shot or some event that you want recorded and it'll look great from the air, go to the Drone Flyers Club webpage, and no, I don't remember what it is off the top of my head. Fill out a form. The new president, John, will get back to you about, we'll get some drone club members out there. Maybe I'll come out, just depends. We're all the people that are doing this are 107 certified commercial drone pilots, so we can do this. And we'll do this for free, and we'll give you the raw footage and the raw pictures, and you can do with them as you want. We want to do this to help everybody in the community. Oh my gosh. Jay Cozy says, I guess the Villages has a short memory. Can you say Bud Light? And somebody says, enjoy your cruise. Never been on MSC, mostly Norwegian Cruise Lines. Yeah, I mean, we went on MSC because I used to work for a travel agent. And MSC, when I first came to the States, he was booking some cruises on there. This travel agent did something unique, motorcycle cruises. We would take our motorcycles on the ship and load them on the ship, take them to the islands, ride around the islands. At the end of the day, put them back on the ship, go to the next island, and ride around. It was a great gig. After doing a couple of them, he wanted me to come work for him, so I'd take my vacation time and go on cruises for free. I guess I wasn't writing any checks, but boy, I was working my tail off. But it was a lot of fun, and I got to ride on my motorcycle on the Caribbean. It was great. Man, let's see. My wife said this episode will be archived. Yeah, it's going to still be up there. So I don't really have much else content for today. It looks like we're winding down on questions. If anybody's got any more questions, pop them up right now, and we'll try and get them answered. This show works because you guys get involved. But I try and give you, again, good, solid information. It's been my pleasure doing this. I've been doing this now for 13 months. This is episode, 57? Something like that. And I've only missed 2 episodes. let's see. Will says, this may have already been discussed, but can anyone legally stop a drone from flying a private piece of property on the outside? Again, privacy laws are legitimate, 934.50. But flying over private property is not something that is protected by the homeowners. U.S. Supreme Court ruled, like I said, in 1946, the initial ruling, and there's been multiple instances of case law that uphold it, but basically Cosby versus United States, or the United States versus Cosby, however it goes. It was about a chicken farmer who was upset because planes were flying over and disturbing his hens. Said, you own the airspace. You don't own the airspace. Tell that to Delta and United and Google Earth. Yeah. Let's see. Any cruises still take motorcycles? No, Mark, unfortunately not. That Steve, who's a good friend of mine, he was a cruise director on one of the cruise ships, and he came up with this idea, and it took him 4 years to put it together. And he did these cruises for about 20 years. It was a great time. I think I probably did 17 or 18 of them and loved it. It was great because you were with a group of people with a common interest, and man, some of these bikers could really party. Do an episode from the ship. Jeff, I thought about doing an episode from the ship, but the bandwidth on their network Wi-Fi isn't good enough. Pest control company, I use Bates Pest Control, and I've been using them for 10 years now. Are you still able to make a video of new home construction at this point? I would say yes, but we never know what tomorrow brings. Saying that so Diz Villager says, Don, you end your videos saying that life is short, enjoy them. At this point in life and with everything on your plate, is a fight really worth it? I enjoy what I do, okay? I enjoy helping people. I enjoy bringing good information to people and showing them what's going on. It's a fabulous community. It really is. This is just a hiccup in the road as far as I'm concerned. I still enjoy life to the maximum extent possible. We'll take it one day at a time. That's all we can do. All right. So Becky wants to know, did the letter mention any repercussions to not complying with the cease and desist? Mine did not. They don't own the airspace. They don't have any ability to stop me. I guess they could go to the FAA. The FAA could ground me. They could file a legal injunction. That's a possibility, but we'll take it one day at a time. Let's see. Mark says, I read somewhere for drones, you have to be 50 feet away from a dwelling or construction spot and below 400 feet. Below 400 feet is correct. 50 foot is not correct. There is no proximity rule in the United States. In Canada, it's 50 meters. In most of Europe, it's 90 meters. In the U.S., all 14 CFR 107 says is above. So the determination is directly above, not over the side. There is flying in an unsafe manner, causing undue hazard to somebody. That generally is only proven when you screw up. Okay. Joey over at 24-Hour Cart Club. How would the Privacy Act work on flying on the ship? You don't fly on a cruise ship, my friend, because the cruise ship won't let you. And think about it if you were trying to take off and the ship was in motion. The drone is using GPS to maintain its position. As soon as you took up off the ground, it would try and be stationary with the GPS signal. It's going to run into the ship or just off the back of the ship. So you're Knox, a victim of lawfare. Wonder where TV got the idea. Mark Edwards says, I'll bring up the subject with my rep on lifestyle visits in May. Very bad PR. Please repeat the name of the pest control company you use. Bates. Bates, I believe it is. If you see their ads, it's always a big full-page yellow ad in the newspaper with the owner on the bottom section of it. Been a good company. Like I said, I've been using them for, well, I guess next month will be 11 years. Again, they do a great job. Whew. All right, folks. What do you say we wrap this up? I'm getting hungry. My coffee cup is getting low. And I have been at this for a while. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. But we'll make the best of it. And I encourage each and every one of you, don't dwell on this. Don't, find the positive things around here. Because there's so much good in this country, in this community. We live in a wonderful age. Life is much too short to dwell on the negative. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call it a day. You all take care, and we'll see you next week. Yeah.